Episode 3. We are done with a whole bunch of district championships and looking forward to the first big intersectional of the season. Eric Stork, welcome.
Thanks, glad to be here. Those district championships, let's get right to it. NISA had their New England Sloops, the first match racing championship in college sailing. BC, as predicted, won out, undefeated until the last round, but still won overall. And Brown also joining them at the Nationals at the end of the season.
On the West Coast, a bit of a debacle in the women's single-handed championship. Annie Rossi goes out, wins the regatta, only to find out at the end that she's not eligible. In a weird twist of circumstances, Annie Rossi was sailing for Channel Islands, where she practices with the team all the time. But technically, she's not enrolled there. She's enrolled at another school that's not eligible for college sailing. So unfortunate thing for Annie. Maybe she can get her team registered for down the line regattas in the future. But for this one, Sally Mace and Molly McKinney, the two Stanford freshmen that qualify for women's single-hand nationals.
Staying on the West Coast and Saturday-Sunday single-handed in the PCC. Oliver Toole from Stanford just went out and owned the event, winning out over some people I think have spent more time in lasers in the past couple of years. Sean Kelly was the second qualifier there from CMA, and then two other Stanford freshmen who we've been talking about this Stanford freshman class. We got Mateo Vargas in third and Kevin Laub in fourth. Judge Ryan, another freshman at UCLA, he's not typically a laser guy, but he got fifth. So watch out for him on the in the PCC and the double-handed stuff.
SESA women's single-handed at USF. Emily Madman and Abby Featherstone qualify. Eckerton USF once again going to women's single-handed nationals.
Yeah, Northwest men's. Elliot Drake from Oregon Junior qualifies for nationals. Won almost every race. So congrats to Elliot.
And finally, in Mesa, you and I were both wrong. We knew it was going to be a freshman. We weren't wrong there, but it was not Marissa Lehan. It was Ariel DeLisser from William Smith. So she wins it on the end, turns it on at the final few races, and overtakes Marissa Lehan, Kelly Crane, and Morgan Wilson, the other qualifiers for nationals.
And now to this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend is the Danmark, and we talked earlier in the season about how a lot of the intersectioners are kind of warm-ups. In September, it's all about seeing who you've got on the team, giving people some experience, getting them back into college sailing. But the Danmark, first big regatta for the New England schools. It's a qualifier for their Atlantic Coast Championship, and of course, it's got the reputation, so it brings all the out-of-district teams as well. It's the first time we get to see teams fielding their top guys. And a few girls in the co-eds against each other. So for NISA, we've got MIT, Dartmouth, UConn, CGA, BU, Tufts, Salve, Roger Williams, Brown, Harvard, Boston College, and Yale. A pretty stacked lineup, and like I said, everyone's going to be sending their top guys.
Yeah, it'll be good. Those NISA teams, and then there's a few from Mesa and a couple other districts that come, but big thing, Coast Guard also attracts some really good fleets because it's a great place to sail. You get almost everything. You'll get the sea breeze in the afternoon, or you could get a northerly. You get a lot of current. The spectating is fabulous. So Coast Guard always puts on a good event. I'll be watching here. There's a few teams, especially those NISA teams who are going to put out their top guys. Like you said, qualifier for Atlantic Coast. You got Yale, Joe Morris, and probably Cam Coleman. He won A at the Hood last weekend, so he'll be in B. BC, Tyler Sinks, and should be Taylor Canfield because NISA's got their women's singles. We'll get to that in a bit. Harvard, Palmer has been doing real well in A. John Stokes and Teddy Himmler kind of been split in B. Probably going to be Stokes. He's been a little bit more consistent. And then Brown and Roger Williams also good in 420s and FJs. So. And then out of district, I think the biggest competitor will be St. Mary's. They won their home event this past weekend. So, who do you got, Chris?
Well, I have to agree with you. It's mostly NISA, aside from St. Mary's. But I think those Harvard boys might get it done. Like you said, it can be tricky at Coast Guard, and they've got plenty of experience there, older upperclassmen. I'm looking at Harvard. They came out of the gate strong. I think they're going to continue through the Denmark.
Yeah, they've certainly been sailing well. I'm tempted by Yale and Brown, but I got to go Boston College. Tyler Sinks again, an A, going to go out and get the job done. Taylor Canfield coming off that match racing also at Coast Guard, and I think he'll get the job done in B. So I'm taking Boston College, but I'm excited to watch it. We also got Wisco from the Midwest, Charleston from SESA, and Stanford bringing a couple of freshmen, Kevin Laub with Haley Tobin, really good crew there, and Mateo Vargas with Rebecca King, another good crew. So I'm excited to see how those guys do.
Can't wait to see it. In other news, the T.S. Stern Sloops is having its first match racing edition this year at the College of Charleston. So it's the second ever college match racing regatta. Bryson Women's out at Stanford. You used to coach there, right?
Yeah, Stanford. Yeah, they're getting a lot of press this week. But the Bryson Women's, it's a cool event. They do fleet race on Saturday and 2-on-2 team race on Sunday. We got to, there's been talk about getting more women's team racing going in college sailing, and they're doing it at Stanford. So hopefully more people pick up on it.
Cool. Carrie Price at Michigan, the Finger Lakes women at Hobart and William Smith. And as you mentioned, the New England women's single-hand champs happening at Connecticut College, but also co-host is Mitchell. So we think maybe it'll be out on the Sound there.
Yeah, and again, Annie Hager obviously been sailing real well. She and Emily Massey got third in A division at the very competitive promotional St. Mary's regatta, so you got to assume she'll be up there. We got Elizabeth Barry, Claire Dennis, Emily Billing, Maggie Shea, Krista Rode, and you never know who else will jump up in there. But it's a very, very competitive fleet in NISA women's singles.
And it'll be interesting to see the two-time national champion against some freshmen and some faces that can also get it done. Finally, this weekend, the non-college event is the Hinman Regatta, the U.S. Team Racing Championship. A lot of familiar faces from the past few years, class of 2010, 2009, 2008, 2007, a lot of All-Americans. I'm very, very excited. I'll be out there bringing video back, and they've got quite a setup there. They're going to be messing with camera angles and maybe some live streaming happening, photos. It's going to be very cool. So check that out. I think a few college teams will be missing some crews, but no major damage done to the college lineup.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Finally, before we go, U.S. Sailing, our sponsor, has another great opportunity for you. As you may know, today is the first day you can nominate this year's U.S. Sailing Rolex Yachtsman and Yachtswoman of the Year. That's the award that comes out every year that recognizes one male sailor and one female sailor for outstanding achievements sailing in the United States. The nominations are open till November 30th, and if you enter someone, maybe you've got a friend or someone from your yacht club you think deserves the award, make the nomination at U.S. Sailing, and you will be entered for a chance to attend the award ceremony at the New York Yacht Club in Manhattan, with travel and accommodations totally provided by U.S. Sailing. So a pretty cool opportunity there, and they could use the nominations. So get them in. Maybe there's a former college sailor that you think deserves this year's nomination.
Yeah, that'll be great. Lots of world championships, North American championships have been won by sailors from the U.S. this year. So let's get a lot of good nominations in there.
All right. So be sure to watch all the results this weekend and all the coverage from the Hinman. And Eric, I'll see you next week.
All right.
Take care.